If you're passionate about forgotten farming techniques, water conservation, and practical solutions that can transform the land, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Half Moon Method in Australia. Every farmer needs this. Before we begin, if you're passionate about forgotten farming techniques, water conservation, and practical solutions that can transform the land, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share this video with other farmers and gardeners. Every week we explore powerful farming methods that deserve to be remembered. Now imagine standing on a farm in the Australian outback, just after a heavy rainstorm. Dark clouds have finally delivered the rain farmers have been praying for. But within minutes, the water begins rushing downhill. Instead of soaking into the ground, it races across the hard soil, carrying away precious topsoil before disappearing into creeks and drainage lines. The storm is over, the water is gone, and the land is already drying again. For many farmers across Australia's dry regions, this has been a frustrating reality for generations. Rainfall is limited, droughts can last for years, and every drop of water matters. Yet much of that precious rain never reaches the roots of the plants that need it most. But what if there were a simple earth shape that could help capture more of that water? What if one forgotten technique could slow runoff, encourage the soil to absorb moisture, and give plants a better chance to survive through long dry periods? Why isn't everyone using it? And could this ancient technique still help farmers today? The answer may surprise you. It's called the Half Moon Bund, a simple semicircular earth structure designed to harvest rainwater naturally. It doesn't need electricity. It doesn't require expensive machinery. It uses the shape of the land itself to make every rainfall work harder. In today's documentary, we'll explore where this technique has been used, how it works, why it has become an important tool in dryland restoration, and whether it still has a place in modern farming. Stay with us until the end, because you'll discover how one of the oldest water harvesting ideas in the world continues to inspire farmers and land restoration projects. Today, Australia's Water Challenge. To understand why the Half Moon Bund matters, we first need to understand the challenge it was designed to overcome. Australia is often called the driest inhabited continent on Earth. While some regions receive abundant rainfall, vast areas of the country experience long dry seasons, unpredictable storms, and recurring droughts. In many farming districts, months can pass without meaningful rain. Then, when a storm finally arrives, much of the water disappears, almost as quickly as it came. At first, this seems impossible. How can a farm receive heavy rain and still remain thirsty? The answer lies beneath our feet. Healthy soil acts like a sponge, rich in organic matter and filled with tiny pores created by roots, insects, and microorganisms. It absorbs rainfall and stores it underground, where plants can use it long after the storm has ended. But damaged soil behaves very differently. Years of overgrazing, repeated machinery traffic, bare ground, and the loss of organic matter can leave the surface hard and compacted. Instead of allowing water to soak in, the soil begins to repel it. Every drop of rain that should have nourished the land now races across the surface. As the water flows downhill, it carries away the most valuable part of the soil, the nutrient-rich top layer. This process, known as erosion, reduces fertility and makes it even harder for future rainfall to infiltrate the ground. The result is a damaging cycle. Less water enters the soil. Plants struggle to grow. Bare ground becomes more exposed. The next storm causes even more runoff and erosion. For farmers and livestock producers, the consequences can be severe. Pastures recover more slowly after dry periods, forage becomes scarce, and crop yields can decline. As vegetation disappears, the land becomes increasingly vulnerable to both drought and intense rainfall. Yet every storm also presents an opportunity. Even in dry regions, the rainfall that does arrive can be far more valuable if it is slowed down and allowed to soak into the soil instead of rushing away. This simple idea has inspired water harvesting techniques in many parts of the world. Among the most effective for gently sloping landscapes is the Half Moon Bund, a carefully shaped earthwork designed to capture runoff, concentrate moisture where plants can use it, and give degraded land a better chance to recover.
The history of half moon bunds. Half moon bunds are one of the world's oldest and most effective water harvesting techniques. While they are often associated with modern land restoration, their origins stretch back hundreds, and in some places thousands of years. The basic idea is simple but powerful. Farmers shape small crescent-shaped earth embankments with the open side facing uphill. When rain falls, runoff flows into the curved basin, slows down, and soaks into the soil instead of washing away. This helps plants survive even in dry climates. Although no single country can claim to have invented the technique, similar earthworks have been used across many arid regions of the world. Communities in parts of Africa have relied on half-moon basins for generations to restore degraded land and grow crops in areas with limited rainfall. In the Middle East, ancient civilizations built terraces, stone bunds, and other water harvesting structures to capture precious rainwater. Across parts of Asia, traditional farmers also developed earthworks to reduce erosion and improve soil moisture. Australia has its own long history of adapting to dry conditions. For thousands of years, Aboriginal Australians developed deep knowledge of managing landscapes, water, and vegetation using techniques suited to the continent's unique environment. In more recent decades, Australian farmers, researchers, and land restoration experts have adapted water harvesting methods, including structures similar to half-moon bunds, where they fit local soils, rainfall patterns, and ecosystems. Today, these crescent-shaped earthworks are used in selected Australian restoration projects to slow runoff, reduce erosion, improve water infiltration, and give native vegetation and pasture a better chance to establish. Combined with modern conservation practices, they have become another valuable tool for restoring damaged landscapes. The history of half-moon bunds shows that one simple idea, capturing every drop of rain, has helped people restore dry lands across different continents. By learning from both traditional knowledge and modern science, communities continue to improve the health of their land for future generations.
It's all mental, and people don't get it. Everybody wants to say, okay, well, here go 10 steps to, okay, Lewis said do 8, E.T. said do 9. This person says it's the 12 steps, and everybody's trying to get the steps without the mentality. It's like, okay, maybe you don't need all 9, or maybe you don't need all 8. Maybe you need 4, maybe you need 12. I don't know. But I think sometimes they see what we do and say, if I can duplicate that, just like exactly how he's done in the book, exactly how, and it's like, yo, you have a story. You have a unique experience. And so your 12 are shaped by not just your world, but how your world has shaped your thinking. And I think that's the part they're missing. It's like, guys, if it was easy, everybody could do it. If it was a cookie cutter, everybody would just follow it to the T. But there's a mindset. And when I looked at Serena, when I look at the Michael Jordans of the world, Tom Brady, when you look at Michael Phelps, like, it is a mentality. On our new album, The Resolution, I talk about, I got that dog. And I'm not really referring to just this, aggressiveness, but it is a mindset. I saw Belichick said something where, they were like, how you feeling about the Super Bowl? He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. We're 5 weeks behind. You know what I'm saying? He's like, everybody else is
next year.
For next year. Everybody else is practicing, training. They lost, and so they're trying to get ready. They're lifting weights. They're reading books. They're, everybody that lost is studying. He's like, what type of mind says
crazy.
We're 5 weeks behind in terms of
the Super Bowl?
Right, the day after the Super Bowl. So, but again, it's a mentality, and I think a lot of people are missing that mentality.
If you walk into any kind of event, whether it be physical or mental, if you walk in with already putting that block on your mind, if man, this ain't gonna happen. People go, how did you run 135 miles to Death Valley? How did you run 100 miles with no training? Because I went into it not thinking, I can't do this, man. I went into it with a strategy. I had an open-mindedness. So until your mind is open to the possibilities that I can do this, you would never be able to do it. Once the mind starts to believe it can be achieved, it then, only then, does it start to break down tactically how we can do this. Until then, you're going to always lose.
Good question. What age should one give up on their dream? Never. Goethe said this, Henry Ford said this, Rockefeller said this. You're only as young or as old as your dreams. And as long as you still have dreams and visions and goals, they keep you young. It's the most amazing darn thing. One of the great stories is the story of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Harlan, and Harlan was taught by his mother a special recipe down south in the United States on how to make chicken. When he grew up, he got a job as a short order cook in a small cafe. And he asked his boss if his boss would be interested in this chicken recipe. And his boss said, sure, throw it together, see what the people say. Turned out that everybody liked this special chicken recipe with all these secret herbs and spices. Well, for the rest of his career, right up till he was 65 years old, he either worked in little cafes or sometimes he owned a little cafe. When he was 65, he had a little cafe and he was making his chicken, and he had people coming from all around to eat his chicken. And the highways department built a highway past his little restaurant, his little chicken place, and put him out of business. They cut off the road so nobody could get to it. About the same time, he received a Social Security check, his first Social Security check at the age of 65. And he became angry. He said, I'm 65 years old, but I'm not ready to give up on my dreams. What do I have to sell? And he realized the one thing that had kept him going all those years, the mainstay of his little career, was his mother's recipe of 17 or 18 herbs and spices. So he put them together in little bags, one bag per chicken, and he put his pots and pans in the back of his old car, and he started driving up and down the eastern seaboard, going from cafe to cafe to cafe, to ask them if they would pay him 5 cents a bag for his magical combination of herbs and spices. He called on more than 1,000 restaurants, sleeping in his car week after week, and finally he came across a little restaurant in Toronto that agreed to pay him 5 cents a bag for his herbs and spices. This is back in the 60s. And because of exchange controls, they had to give the money to the Red Cross. That was the beginning of the Kentucky Fried Chicken Empire. We began to sell this recipe more and more. People began to put it on their signs. A major corporation came along and said we could make a real business of this. So they embraced him. They built the franchise. They made him one of the best known people in the world. When he died some years later, he was worth more than $50 million because he never gave up on his dreams. So I don't know if you're 65 and broke and living in your car with pots and pans with no money, but wherever you are, you never give up on your dreams.
1. Choosing the site. The first step is selecting the right location. Half Moon Bunds work best on gently sloping land where rainwater naturally flows downhill. Avoid flat ground, where there is little runoff, and steep slopes, where water can move too quickly and damage the structure. Look for areas with degraded soil, bare ground, or places where vegetation struggles to grow. 2. Measuring the slope. Before digging begins, farmers carefully measure the slope. A gentle gradient of about 1 to 5% is ideal. Accurate measurements are essential because even a small mistake can cause water to escape rather than soak into the soil. 3. Marking the curves. The open side of the half moon always faces uphill to catch incoming runoff, while the curved berm sits on the downhill side to hold the captured water. Depending on rainfall and intended crops, each half moon is typically 2 to 6 meters wide. Farmers often space multiple half moons across a hillside, creating rows that harvest water over a large area. 4. Building the berm now, construction begins. Soil is excavated from inside the marked area and piled along the curved edge to form a sturdy berm. The earth is compacted firmly to reduce erosion and strengthen the structure. The berm is usually 30 to 50 centimeters high, depending on local rainfall and soil conditions. Stones, mulch, or grasses may be added to reinforce the berm and protect it from heavy rain. 5. Planting suitable vegetation. The final step is planting. Trees are often placed near the center where moisture remains longest. Grasses, shrubs, and crops are planted throughout the basin according to local conditions. Suitable plants include drought-tolerant trees, native grasses, fruit trees, legumes, fodder crops, and other species adapted to dry climates. As rainwater infiltrates the soil, roots grow deeper, vegetation becomes established, and the half moon gradually transforms dry, barren land into productive ground. Once the first good rainfall arrives, the difference can be remarkable. Instead of rushing downhill and disappearing, rainwater collects inside each half moon bund. The curved earth bank slows the flow, giving the water time to soak deep into the ground. Even after the surface dries, moisture remains stored beneath the soil, providing plants with water for weeks longer than surrounding areas. As seasons pass, the soil continues to improve. Decaying grasses and fallen leaves add organic matter, increasing the soil's ability to hold water and nutrients. Earthworms, insects, fungi, and beneficial microbes gradually return, creating healthier and more fertile ground. The restored vegetation also protects the soil from wind erosion, reducing dust and preventing valuable topsoil from being blown away. Over several years, many restoration sites transform from bare, compacted land into productive ecosystems. Native shrubs spread naturally, grasses become denser, and wildlife such as birds, insects, reptiles, and small mammals return as food and shelter become available. Different Australian climates require different plant selections to achieve the best results. In the arid interior, hardy native species such as saltbush, bluebush, wattles, mulga, and spinifex grasses are well adapted to low rainfall and poor soils. These plants stabilize the land while providing valuable habitat and livestock forage. Across semi-arid farming regions, species like old man saltbush, native grasses, acacias, and drought-tolerant fodder shrubs perform well. Farmers often combine these with carefully managed grazing systems to improve both land health and livestock production. In Mediterranean regions of southern Australia, where winters are wetter and summers are dry, native eucalyptus, she oak, banksia, and hardy perennial grasses establish successfully. These species benefit from the extra moisture stored by the half-moon bunds during the winter rainy season. In tropical northern Australia, where heavy seasonal rains are followed by long dry periods, fast-growing native trees, tropical grasses, and erosion control shrubs help stabilize the soil while making the most of the captured wet season rainfall. Although plant choices vary across Australia's diverse climates, the principle remains the same. Capture rain where it falls, allow it to soak into the ground, and create the conditions for healthy vegetation to thrive. With patience and consistent land management, half-moon bunds can turn degraded landscapes into resilient, productive ecosystems that continue improving year after year where it works. Best half-moon bunds work best in dry and semi-arid regions with low to moderate rainfall, gentle slopes, and degraded land where water easily runs off. They help capture rainwater, reduce erosion, and support the growth of trees, grasses, and drought-tolerant crops. However, they are not suitable for very steep slopes, where fast-moving water can damage the bunds. They may also be less effective in areas with very high rainfall or poorly drained soils, where excess water can cause flooding or waterlogging. When used in the right conditions, Half Moon Bunds are an effective and low-cost solution for restoring land and conserving water. As we've seen throughout this documentary, some of the most effective farming solutions aren't always the newest. Sometimes, the future of farming isn't about buying more machines. It's about rediscovering simple ideas that help every drop of rain do more work. Half Moon Bunds prove that with thoughtful design and a little effort, farmers can restore degraded land, conserve water, and create healthier landscapes for future generations. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more documentaries on forgotten farming methods, sustainable agriculture, and land restoration from around the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.